Suominen takes it back to the net. Flipped up on the boards for Lindroos. He fires it around to the other side. Suominen in the corner. Plays it back to the net. Going after it is Beacock. Suominen is after him. The unified team chop it out to the neutral zone. Amailev can't go anywhere with it. It comes in across the line, picked up by Kovalenko. Kovalenko trying to work to the net. He's knocked down, and the Finns have the puck. Billy Siren tries to get out. He's stopped. Amailev with a shot high off the glass, and the puck ricochets all the way down the ice.
Jukka Tammien nets for the Finnish national team, and number 20, Stolinkov, in nets for the unified team. This game, I think, will be similar in some ways to the Canada-Germany game in that the Finns are not interested in playing a shootout during the regulation time anyways with the unified team. The guys in red are much, much stronger offensively, and consequently, I think you will see the Finns back up and play a little bit more of a defensive posture.
Prokhorov comes in across the line for Bolden, into the slot for Borashevsky. He wheels around and fires it wide. Centering pass goes off the skate. Peltoma skates it out for the Finns. The winner of this game will advance against the United States in the semifinal on Friday, and we will have that game for you on CBC television. Along the boards, Saranosky had the puck knocked away from him. Jutala for the Finns. Fires it in. Stelnikov kicked that one to the corner. And the puck is gloved ahead, and it results in a whistle just inside the unified team blue line.
Well, there's a look at Timo Solani, the Winnipeg Jets first-round draft pick. People are calling him the next Curry. And there has been no next coach for the unified team. Viktor Tikhonov, despite heavy criticism throughout his career, has come up with some astounding statistics from a wins point of view, and he continues to be the key man with the unified team.
2:35 into the opening period. It's scoreless. These teams have met just once. This coach of the Finnish team, as a result of that silver medal performance in Calgary in 1988, was named Coach of the Year for all sports in Finland. Skriko is checked. The puck loose in the corner. Zhamnov flips it out into the center ice area. Back just in time to knock it down was Jutala. Jutala throws it rink wide, too far for Skriko. Kovalev starts back. Kovalev tried to center it, looking for Petrenko, intercepted by the Finns, and it's flipped all the way down the ice, and this produces an icing call against the Finns.
Well, the big story breaking on the wire from the National Hockey League was the trade that Don Whitman just talked about. The big story here is a protest that Germany has apparently launched against Canada in the last game, contending that the winning goal by Eric Lindros should be declared illegal because the Germans should have shot first in the second round of the shootout.
There was a lot of confusion going into the shootout. Dave King, the coach of the Canadian team, right up until game time was trying to determine from the officials exactly how the shootout would go, and they were unable to provide him with the exact information until just moments before they went on the ice. But again, we can bring you the information about the big trade in the National Hockey League. The Philadelphia Flyers trading right winger Rick Tocchet, defenseman Shel Samuelson, goaltender Ken Reagan, and a conditional third-round draft choice to the Pittsburgh Penguins for right winger Mark Recchi, defenseman Brian Benning, and the Los Angeles Kings first-round draft pick in the 1992 NHL entry draft. Benning and the draft choice were obtained by Pittsburgh in a separate transaction with Los Angeles. Pittsburgh also obtained defenseman Jeff Chikrin from Los Angeles in exchange for defenseman Paul Coffey. Maranov has his shot gloved and held. Jukka Tammi in goal for Finland in this crucial battle.
Well, not to take anything away from this game, Don, but they're going to start to call Los Angeles Edmonton South if they haven't already.
I think they've already nicknamed the Kings Edmonton South. Well, Paul Coffey will be happy being reunited with his old pal, Wayne Gretzky.
Well, the LA Kings need a little bit of a jump start. That division is very, very close. We haven't followed as closely as we would like, having been over here concerned with Vic Tikhonov and the unified team. Right now, all eyes on the game between Finland and the unified team.
Bikov out front. Great save as Homutov was stopped point blank by Jukka-Tammi. Alaranta throws it into the corner for Lorela. Along the boards for Tuomisto. He gets it out to center ice. Mironov is back over to Kasparaitis.
Well, the general feeling is that Finland, without one of their key scorers, Mikko Makala, will have a difficult time staying close to the unified team. Makala out with a sore back. The Finnish doctors have a technical term for it called the witch's stitch in Finland.
Kasparaitis keeps it in. Davidoff for Homutov. Back to the line, into the corner for Bikov. Bikov tried to throw it to the front of the net. It went off a skate. And Tammy plays it around in the boards. Milev initially started the Olympics playing on the left side with Bikov and Homutov. But after 2 games, Davidoff, number 11, switched to the left wing. And this line has been the unified team's most potent attacking unit.
Great quickness, great skill. They jump to the holes, and if you want a good example of what cycling means, just watch the Bikov line in the opposition's end. There's a look at number 22, Slava Butsayev. Butsayev, kind of an interesting story. His father works in the freight docks in a place called Toilata, where they produce Lada automobiles, and part of his conditioning, whether he realized it or not, was lifting a bunch of the heavy freight associated with the building of these cars. He got a fair amount of strength from that conditioning over the summers.
Rausinen gets to the center line, tried to dump it in. It was blocked by Boughton. He fires it out. Nieminen intercepts. Nieminen, rink-wide pass. Seleny couldn't pick it up. Kravchuk on top of him. It's left in the corner. Nieminen falls down. The unified team starts back. Kravchuk is checked. Boughton throws it up for Kovalenko. Kovalenko trying to work away from Seleny. Cuts for the net. The save is made by Tammy.
What a great job by Kovalenko. He had Ville Siren draped all over him. Siren no slouch as far as skill or size, and Kovalenko, with the determination and the strength to go to the net, did a good job in getting the puck almost over the goal line.
Borashevsky worked to the line, lost it, redirected the shot by Bolden. 1-0, the unified team.
Borashevsky has played a strong tournament for the unified team. He's been a real pest. This is exactly what the Finns did not want to happen early. The unified team gets on the board, and all of a sudden the Finnish posture of defensive hockey starts to go out of the way. Bolden doesn't get a hard shot away, but look who's on his way to the net. Borashevsky left untended in front of the net, and the left-handed shot. Borashevsky gets a stick on it, a nice deflection, and a 1-goal lead for the unified team.
5:50 into the opening period. 1-0, the unified team leading. Puck is gloved and held by Stalenkov. In curling, we are informed that Canada leads Sweden 8-3, playing in the 7th end. Here it's 1-0, the unified team leading Finland. We are 1 second short of the 6-minute mark in the opening period. On the goal by the unified team, it was Borashevsky from Bolden and Prokhorov at 5:42. 1-0, the unified team leading in this quarterfinal match. The winner will go on to face the United States. The Americans 4-1 winners last night over a surprisingly tough French team. Almanen circles in the corner. Takes a shot. It's blocked in front of the net. And flipped out to center ice by the unified team. Petrenko works in across the line. There's a whistle on the play. It was offside. 6:21 into the period. Well, a penalty on the play as well. And going to the penalty box is Kovalev. So the Finns, trailing by 1, will have a power play as Ville Siren takes it behind his own net, being watched there by Bikov.
The National Hockey League last night, in case you haven't noticed, Minnesota hasn't scored a goal in the province of Quebec, losing to Les Nordiques 4-0, Pittsburgh 2, Toronto 1, New Jersey 4, Philly 3, Washington 4, San Jose 2, and LA plays the Oilers tonight. Paul Coffey will make the trip from Pittsburgh to Edmonton. His first game as a King.
7-1 Pittsburgh over Toronto, we are informed, as the Finns move the puck in the unified team zone. Ville Siren came racing in from the point. There was too much traffic for the pass to come through from the far side from Mika Nieminen. Nieminen slipped it ahead to Solani. He deflects it to the corner. Kravchuk is back after it around the boards for Butsayev. And Butsayev simply redirects it down the ice.
Well, the Finns firing at a 20% efficiency on their power play. Would dearly love to get one here. If the unified team gets 1, 2, and 3 goals ahead of them, they will end up dominating for the entire 60 minutes.
We had a visit prior to the game with this gentleman. He played in the National Hockey League, of course, with the Calgary Flames. Kari Eloranta, and you called him by his nickname, Tonto.
Well, Bob Johnson was terrible for a lot of names. He used to call Kari Eloranto. I can remember him calling Jamie Heslop. Marcel Dion had all kinds of different names, and when he started to call Kari Eloranto, I thought Tonto kind of rhymed with Eloranto, and the name stuck. And to get him out of the dressing room today, simply go get Tonto, and he came out with a big grin on his face.
He knew exactly who had called for him as well. Lindros flips it up on the side on the wing to Tuomisto in front of the net. Suominen failed to redirect. Lindros leaves it there. Suominen back to Lindros. Suominen feeds the point. Takes a return pass. Suominen over to the other side. Eloranta plays it back of the goal. To the point for Eloranta. He dumps it in for Lindros. Tuomisto back to Lindros. 3 seconds remaining in the penalty. Back to the line. Eloranta lets it go. They score! Tuomisto on the rebound. After the initial save was made, it's 1-1.
Kari Eloranta assisted on what the Finns called the goal heard throughout Finland in 1988. The second goal of the game to give the Finns a win over the Soviets at that time. And here's a look in a similar situation. Eloranta gets the puck to the net, and Tuomisto is a Johnny on the spot. A very, very crucial goal for the Finns, although it's early in this game. If they want to continue the type of posture they feel necessary to beat the unified team, a defensive one, they needed to get a goal, and they did that seconds after the penalty to the unified team had expired.
Dumped in by the Finns. Back after it goes Zubov. He moves it ahead for Bolden. Too far for Prokhorov. Tammy plays it up along the boards. Skriko throws it on the right side. Seleny racing after it, going for the net. Shoots! Saved by Stalenkov.
Stalenkov immediately out to challenge Seleny. A couple of unified team members coming back in the middle of the ice that prevented Seleny from going to the net. 1-1, 9:05 gone in the first period.
Petrenko, what a save by Jukka Tammy. And I think the 3 unified players coming in with Petrenko trying to finish it off thought they had the goal, because it appeared as though Tammy was down and beaten.
Well, there was one other guy in the building that thought they had the goal as well, and he's to your right. That was me. Tammy is out of the play. Petrenko fires the puck to the side that Tammy had come from. Had he gone to the short side, he would have had a little bit more room. nonetheless, when you're going full speed and you've only got 6 feet to shoot at, Petrenko did a good job in releasing the puck right away. Petrenko did an excellent job getting the shot on net. Tommy did a better job in getting his stick on the puck.
Maranov with a shot from the point, and Tommy covers up and holds it for another face-off. The tying goal for Finland, Tuomisto from Alaranta and Lindroos at 8:25. We have played 9:23.
Shootout rules. Yesterday we were guessing at what was taking place by what was happening on the ice. And the fact that nobody was even sure if the ice was going to be cleaned from the end of the third period until the start of the 10-minute overtime period, I think, is a good indication of the lack of information that was available as we get another look at the shot from Maranov.
Well, I think Dave King had a good explanation about the possible protest by the German Federation. He said, we just go out and do our job. Our job is to try and put the puck in the net. We follow the instructions we are given, and we won the hockey game.
Well, I think that the Germans have no choice but to lodge a protest, but I can't imagine that anything would change the outcome of the game.
Lindroos slips across, Suominen can't deflect it, as Stalenkov just got his stick on it. Kasparaitis circles in his own zone. Leaves it for Maranov, the big defenseman who will be joining the Toronto Maple Leafs on the 10th of March. Slips it ahead to Homotov. He shoots it in. Tammy stops it back to the net for Laurella. For Lindroos, he flips it up on the wing. Here's a long shot by Suominen, deflected to the corner. Kravchuk for Homotov, a penalty coming up against Finland. Homotov circles back in his own end to get that extra skater out there. Slips it over to Boughton. Bekoff at center ice mishandled it, and the whistle goes as the Finns touch the puck. A high sticking call, 10:29 into the period, and Suominen goes to the penalty box.
Suominen with a slash and a high stick right here on number 3, Kravchuk. And consequently, the Finns give the limit their power play opportunities as much as possible.
Raimo Suominen was with the Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers in the 84-85 season. He also played briefly with the Vancouver Canucks. He has been a key member of this Finnish Olympic team. Borshevsky, who scored the first goal, drops it back to the point to Malakoff, over to Zubov. Zubov winds up, and the shot is blocked by Hannu Järvenpää. It deflects out to center ice.
Järvenpää timing the slide perfectly for the block. A good play to keep the puck away from his goaltender, Tommy.
Malakoff slips it ahead to Bolden. He comes in with Prokhorov. Prokhorov puts on the brakes, looks back to the point. It comes to Malakoff. Borshevsky trying to set something up, back to the point. Malakoff lets the shot go through traffic. Borshevsky the rebound, and the save is made by Tammy. Malakoff again. Now over to Zubov. Zubov shoots. Save Tammy. And Skriko gets an opening and fires at the length of the ice.
Borshevsky can sure jump on the puck quickly. A great opportunity from the side of the net. He's not a guy that is in the traffic unless he has to be. He seems to read that part of the play very, very well and doesn't get caught in too tight with bigger players draped over him. He jumps from the outside to the attack and scores his fair share of goals doing it that way.
30 seconds remaining in the penalty. 11:57 into the period. Petrenko. Too far for Kovalenko. Kovalenko picks it up in the corner. Gets it back to the point. Juszkiewicz tried to flip it back to the net. The Finns having some problems clearing. Finally, Laukkanen bats it out of the air and down the ice.
The unified team not playing with a tremendous amount of intensity, and part of that, I think, is the Finns not really pushing them a lot.
Petrenko plays it around the boards, coming in from the point is Zhitnik. He tried to go back to the net. It was blocked by Alarando. He can't get out, but now it is cleared to center ice as Finland returns to full strength. Lindroos on the wing for Suominen. Suominen tied up by Juszkiewicz. Laurella at the point, flips it up high in the glass. Suominen behind the net again, battling with Juszkiewicz. The puck comes loose. Jamnov in the corner. Can't get out. He plays it back to Yushkevich. He flips it out to center ice. Alaranda shoots it right back in. 13-13 gone by in the opening period. Finland and the unified team in a 1-1 tie in this quarterfinal match. Here comes Peltoma. Backhand shot off the side of the net. They hold it against the mesh for a face-off. 13-25 gone by in period 1. Flips it across to Kasparaitis. Big defenseman dumps it in. It's left along the boards for Rautanen. He whips it down the ice, and this will be an icing call against Finland. There was some concern whether or not Rautanen would be able to suit up for Finland for this game. Mikko Makala has been scratched from the lineup by coach Pentti Matikainen. But Rautanen was able to take the warm-up and is playing.
Rautanen has some sort of undisclosed injury that nobody wanted to talk about. A member of 2 Olympic teams and sports run in his family. His mother was a competitor in the Summer Olympics at one time in the 100 meters.
Puck is loose. It bounces past Zubov at the point. And Rautanen would like to play hockey next year either in Germany or Switzerland.
I understand that Dusseldorf of the German Elite League has folded during the Olympics, Don. I don't know whether you've heard anything about that, and I'm not even sure if it's 100% true, but I had a couple of people tell me that due to that fact, Mike Height and Ron Fisher, 2 Canadians that play for Dusseldorf, were looking around for alternate places of employment.
Prokhorov for Borishevsky. For Bolden, he tried to quickly slip it over to Prokhorov. Now he does get it to Prokhorov. A long shot. Borishevsky went driving for the net, trying to redirect it. It was just beyond his reach. Zubov behind his own goal. 14:43 into the period. He gives it over to Milev. Up along the boards, Butsayev bumps it out to center. Helmanen shoots it back in.
Now I'm going to have to give that Dusseldorf thing a little check into. I was thinking Helmut de Raaf, the goaltender for the German team, said that Dusseldorf is the greatest hockey city in the world. It seems strange that a city that loves hockey that much wouldn't support his team.
Well, you'll have to become an investigative journalist and find out exactly what is going on there in Dusseldorf.
I might have to zip down there to take a look.
Can you ski there?
I'll try.
Butsayev works in. He leaves it there for Kravchuk. Kravchuk throws it out front. Petrenko couldn't get a shot away. Lorela is all over him. Behind the net, Solani comes in to help out, and Solani decides to flip it high and down the ice.
Referee Adam separating Kari Eloranta and Kovalenko. They were tied up in a knot to the right of Yukatami.
Eloranta gives it over to Lorela, his defensive partner. Lorela weaves his way through the center ice area, then flips it to the corner. Back after it goes Zhitnik. Lindroos is on him quickly. Yushkevich flips it up on the left side to Petrenko. He moves it to Jamnov. Jamnov, quick shot, gloved by Yukatami, and it deflects up over the glass, out of play. 16:27 into the period. Right of Yukatami, but just as they dropped the puck, the whistle went, so they'll perform the task over again. Viktor Tikhonov, the coach of the unified team. Pentti Matikainen, the man behind the bench for the Finnish team.
You said the face-off to the right of Tammy. Well, to the left of you is Tammy Tamminen, the coach of the Swiss national team, along with Brian Lefley, watching Tamminen's native Finland play the unified team.
Puck in front of the net. Homotov couldn't get a stick on it. Penalty coming up. Billy Siren knocked Homotov down. And Billy Siren, a former National Hockey Leaguer with Pittsburgh and Minnesota, will go to the penalty box. That comes 16:47 into the opening period with the score tied at 1.
Really Siren with some pretty good strength. I thought did a good job on, I believe it was Homutov in the corner. Here's a look at it. If Siren doesn't completely wrap his arms around him, he wouldn't have got the penalty. Nonetheless, the way he had Homutov is the way that I would instruct my defenseman. The referee not agreeing with my analysis of it and assessing a 2-minute penalty. The Unified team on the power play for the second time in the game.
Bikoff into the corner to Homutov. In front, and it's deflected by Bikoff wide. Lorela tried to flip it out. Intercepted by Homutov. He likes to set up in the corner and fire out front to a defenseman sneaking in. In this instance, Bikoff looked for Kasparaitis. It didn't get through. Bikoff gets it again for Davidoff. He tried to one-time it, but Tammy came across to make the save. Davidoff comes up with the puck. Davidoff takes his time for Bikoff. They score! Homutov took the behind-the-back pass from Bikoff and rifled it in. Bikoff and Homutov play together with Freeberg, and the familiarity was certainly evident on that play.
Well, a great play by the Unified team. Watch how tight the quarters are, and they end up still maneuvering the puck through the 4 Finnish players on the ice. Kari Alaranta, who is also very, very good with his stick, missed the pass. Look how tight things are. Bikoff spins around, and after receiving the puck from his line mate Davidoff, puts it over to the gentleman you see on your screen now, Homutov. They made no mistake, 2-1. The Unified team power play maintaining its dominance of the power play standings here at the Olympics.
Here comes Nieminen going for the net. The puck loose in front, and there's going to be a penalty here. A hooking call against the Unified team as Nieminen attempted to drive on goaltender Stalenkov.
Stalenkov, who wears number 20, the same number as Vladislav Tretiak wore. Tretiak not at the Olympic Games anymore. He left yesterday. I don't know whether he's coming back or not, but we had the pleasure of sitting beside him for a number of these hockey games. I think if he had to pick one team, it would be the Unified team. If you asked him his second favorite, I don't think there's much question that he'd be rooting for Canada.
Prokhorov goes to the penalty box. 17:51 remaining in the period. 2-1. The Unified team leads. Power play go-ahead goal by Homutov. Yarvantov works in behind the net, throws it around to Seleny. Back of the goal for Nieminen. The Finns trying to set something up. They will move that puck around, looking for the chance. Nieminen almost had it. He was able to sneak up behind the play to the side of the net, and Seleny tried to find him with it. Nieminen back to the point. Routinen to Seleny. Seleny shoots, saved by Stalenkov. Seleny gets it again for Billy Siren. His shot deflects and is gloved by Stalenkov.
A couple of very cagey plays by the Finns. I particularly like the one that you described so well, Don. Seleny firing the puck around to Nieminen behind the net. Nieminen was halfway behind, and as he swung around, the pass was there. Here's another scoring opportunity that the Finns had, as you see Boughton clearing his man out in front of the net. Nieminen was behind the net, and he did a real neat job. Stalenkov couldn't know that he was there because he came the full 180 degrees from the right side of the goaltender around to the left side, and as the pass approached, Nieminen was right there and just missed a goal because of it.
1:15 remaining in the penalty. Jamnov fires the puck the length of the ice to relieve the pressure. 1 minute and 14 seconds remaining in the period.
The Finns exhibiting a more aggressive approach to their power play than they did against the tie that we enjoyed versus Sweden. Would you not agree?
Yes, they are. They're shooting the puck more from the point, for one thing, than they did in that game against Sweden. Tuomisto, who has scored the only goal for Finland, dumps it to the corner. Mironov gets to it, can't get it out. Alaranta Feeds it in to Tuomisto. And in front of the net, there was a battle going on. A whistle on the play, and I'm not quite sure what that was all about.
You got me on that one, Don. I actually thought that Adam, the way he pointed to the two in front of the net, was assessing coincidental minor penalties. I wonder if perhaps the Finn was in the crease. Adam blew the whistle, and that's why the draw went outside.
I think that's a logical explanation. Laurelo fires it in. Tuomisto is bumped in the corner by Kasparaitis. Lindroos back to the point for Eloranta. He lets a shot go. It hits a teammate and bounces back to the neutral zone. 20 seconds remaining in the period. 10 seconds in the penalty. Laurelo works his way ahead. Plays it off Striko to the corner. Striko taken in against the boards by Zubov. The unified team back at full strength. Laukkanen threw it in front. Intercepted by the unified team. Brought out to center just as the horn sounds to end the opening period. So in this quarterfinal match, after 20 minutes of play with the winner advancing. Selany out front. Nieminen just deflected it wide. Järvenpää to Nieminen, to Selany. He is tied up at the side of the net. Järvenpää gets it, tries to jam it. Stolaikov holds it for a face-off.
The Finns much more aggressive in the first minute and a half of this second period of play. I think that's a good thing to see from the Finns. As we mentioned in the Swedish game, they really sat back and were quite docile against their unified team opponents. This evening they've got a little bit more jump. I think that gives them a better chance to hang in this game longer. They, as we mentioned in the first period, would like the same sort of attack the Germans had against the Canadians. The unified team stronger offensively. And if the Finns can keep this game close, the longer the better for them.
Rautinen's shot deflected over the glass and out of play. Plays out there with Nieminen and Selany. The unified team gains control from the face-off. Boughton starts out slowly. He gives it to Kovalenko. Kovalenko picks up speed as he comes in across the line. Backhand shot. Tammy with the save. The puck deflected back to center ice. Butsayev for Amailev. His shot deflected off the end boards and is covered up by Tammy for a face-off.
Don, I took your advice and did a little bit of investigative research on the rumor about Dusseldorf folding in the German Elite League. I was incorrect about Dusseldorf. The team that it was Rosenheim, Heidt, and Ron Fischer from the German national team play there, as do other Canadians, Dale Durkach, Gordy Shervin, and Carl Friesen. Rosenheim folding a couple of weeks ago. And these players and the rest of their team members will be looking for employment in other cities in Europe.
Sarenkoski gets to the line, is stopped there. The puck stolen by Borashevsky. He can't go anywhere with it. Saarinen whips it around the boards to Blomqvist. He got it out to center ice. It's brought back in. Prokhorov was checked. Sarenkoski puts it back into his own zone to Saarinen. Flipped up to Peltoma. Peltoma is checked at the line, and back comes Prokhorov. He has impressed in this tournament so far. He is impressed with the hit he takes from Saarinen in the neutral zone.
I've seen Simo Saarinen dish out a couple of good body checks, and he really ran over number 24 Prokhorov at the red line.
We've played 3 minutes of the second. It's 2-1. The unified team leads. The unified team will go to the power play as the Finnish squad is penalized. I thought they may have had a bit of a problem as they were trying to make a line change. They have too many players on the ice. That was the reason for the whistle. Kovalev tried to get it back to the point. It's deflected down the ice. Zhitnik goes back after it.
Finland doesn't have a huge hockey playing population. Only 30,000 players of the total population of Finland, right around the 5 million neighborhood. Put that up against the unified team and there'll be some pretty substantial differences in the numbers.
Skriko tried to break down the right side. He stays with the puck and is taken in against the boards by Juszkiewicz. Jitnik is forced to circle back over to Juszkiewicz. 2-1. The unified team leads. Kovalev tried to drive in. There's another penalty coming up against Finland, so the unified team will have a 2-man advantage for 1 minute and 4 seconds. Kari Eloranta going off to the penalty box. He was the player that Kovalev, the 18-year-old speedster on this unified team, was attempting to drive around.
It almost looks as if Eloranta got his stick stuck on Kovalev. He puts the hook on him right there. And at times, if you get a guy between his forearm and his upper arm, you can really throw him off balance. Eloranta doing that and realizing that he's got the penalty call right away. If the unified team throws the puck around 5-on-3 the way they have 5-on-5, I would suggest if you're watching you do a few neck exercises, because it will be moving rather quickly, and I would think within the 1 minute and 4 seconds that the 5-on-3 will exist for, the unified team will have put one behind Ukatami.
Bykov, Homutov, Davidoff up front. Malikov and Mironov back in the point. The unified team can't keep it in. Nieminen and Järvenpää out there, along with Rautanen. Here comes Homutov. Homutov puts on the brakes and then is checked by Järvenpää, and it's deflected out to center.
A good start for the Finns, jumping on the face-off and then pressuring the unified team. They don't want them to set up.
Again, Järvenpää breaks it up, gives it to Nieminen. Nieminen plays it to the boards, goes after it himself. Then it's popped loose to Bykov. And across the line with Homutov. Bykov for Homutov! He holds it, couldn't get a good shot away. He had Tammy down. Now Bykov slides it back to Malikov. A shot off the end boards wide. Mironov keeps it in through the corner. Homutov. Out front. Bykov off the post. Back to the point to Malikov. In front, Bykov for Davidoff, and he put that over top of the net. One penalty has expired. Finland just 1 man short as Homutov for Bykov. Bykov tried to slip it between the defender's legs. It slipped off the glass and down the ice. 43 seconds remaining in the penalty to Eloranta. Well, the unified team moved that puck quickly, and they came very close. Homutov, Bykov, and Davidoff, all 3 members of that line, getting an opportunity to score. The best belonging to Bykov, who put it off the post.
Well, if you're going to be successful killing 5-on-3, you have to have a little bit of luck. The Finns did that, and it looks like they might sneak out of these power plays without anything against them.
Davidoff back to the point. Zubov winds up, his shot right on the rebound. Bykov, and the battle taking place at the side of the net as the save is made, involving Homutov, who had his helmet removed, and the Finnish player who was pushing and shoving with him. And Homutov is really upset by the punishment he was receiving in front of the Finnish net.
Homutov, not a big man, but he certainly stands his position, and he's very, very clever. As referee Adam now, I believe, is signaling that Homutov has a penalty, as well as his dance partner in front of the net, number 5, Jutila.
5:48 into the period, 2-1, the unified team leads. Homutov and Bykov play with Fribourg in the Swedish, or the Swiss League. And as we have pointed out on other telecasts, they are accustomed to playing an incredible 56 to 57 minutes a game.
Now, we also talked about their contracts they signed. At the time they signed, they were the highest paid players in the Swiss League. So we get a look at a save by Ukatami. Since that time, there's been 6 or 7 players that have signed contracts in excess of what Homutov and Bykov are making. In order for the team that they play for, Fribourg, to be successful financially, apparently their building has to be sold out 99% of the time. And I guess based on that relationship, Don, they look at Bykov and Homutov playing playing 97% of the time as well.
9 seconds remaining in the penalty to Alarada. A roughing and holding penalty being assessed against the players who have gone to the box. A clearing attempt goes over the glass and out of play with just 1 second remaining in the penalty.
Petri Skriko, a veteran of a number of different men over the Olympics so far. And Pentti Matakainen would like to see Skriko get one before this game is over and allow the Finns to get a little bit closer to their Soviet counterparts.
Skriko was traded to Boston and then to Winnipeg. Both those teams were hoping that he would bounce back to the form he displayed when he was playing for the Vancouver Canucks, but for some reason he was never able to generate the same type of offense. Lead pass for Prokhorov, just a little too far for him. Puck goes to the far corner as Rautanen picks it up. Rautanen, rink wide for Skriko. It bounced away from him and is flipped out to center ice. Borashevsky gives for Bolden. Bolden shoots, fires it wide. He faked as though he was going to dish it off to Prokhorov and opted instead to shoot and fired it wide. 6:31 into the period. The puck in the Finnish zone. The Finns trailing by a score of 2-1. Laukkanen flips it to an open wing. Back after it goes Boughton. Butsayev, rink wide for Kovalenko. He couldn't pick it up. It's chopped out to center ice. Racing after it is Seleny. Seleny goes for the He has a great burst of speed. I think he came in and tried to get that shot away. The puck just slipped off the end of his stick. Lead pass for Seleny too far, and it's an icing call against Finland. 7:12 into the period. Milev had taken a hit along the boards in front of the penalty box. Was very slow in getting back to his feet.
I was kind of hoping that the host broadcaster would have a replay of Seleny going to the net as we see Milev go to the bench. Seleny, button hook looking for somebody else to come in that they can pass it to. Seleny not taking that option at all, put his shoulder down, went to the net, and although his shot was wide, it was clear that he was intent on getting to the goalie.
Back to the point. Jitnik with a shot, the puck loose in front of the net. Penalty coming up against Finland as Kovalev was hauled down in front of the goal, and the unified team will have another power play. 7:19 into the period. And the unified team, the last time they had a man advantage, certainly moved the puck well, had scoring opportunities, but couldn't put it in. Borashevsky flips it behind the net. Bikov looks out front. Kasparaitis was pinching in from the point, but they couldn't get it to him. Kasparaitis again had problems handling it. Now he takes it back to the point, over to Mironov. His long shot goes wide. You'll see him sneak in from the point as well. Davidov throws it to the corner to Borashevsky. Borashevsky back to Mironov. He shoots and fires it wide. Taken off the mesh behind the net by Davidov. The Borashevsky. He was looking for Kasparaitis. It deflects past him and down the ice.
Couple of things that I like about the unified team. Number one, watch their nice, pure wrist shots. Boy, do they ever fire the puck when they have an opportunity to wrister. No snapshot, no slap shot. Good strong forearms and a heck of a wrister.
Mironov fires it wide again. I think Toronto hockey fans are going to enjoy this big defenseman when he arrives on the 10th of March. He can really fire it from the point. Davidov back to the net. He's tied up. Borashevsky looking for someone to give it to. Mironov at the point, fakes the shot, gives it back to Borashevsky in front to Bikov. His weak shot, as he was checked by Laukkanen, goes harmlessly to the corner, and it's fired down the ice with 35 seconds remaining in the penalty to Simo Saarinen.
A number of the European teams continually work the puck around the box on the power play. The unified team, on the other hand, is always looking for a seam to penetrate. Players moving in and out, and that's how they're generating their scoring chances on the power plays.
Zubov to Borashevsky. Puck comes loose. Borashevsky back to the point. Zubov's shot goes wide. Borashevsky gets it again. He feeds Zubov. Zubov tries to go across to Borashevsky, it bounced to Malakoff. His shot deflected up against the glass. As the penalty to Saarinen expires, the puck is flipped down the ice by Finland, and it's an icing call against the Finns. 9:31 into the second. The unified team protecting a one-goal lead. And from the face-off, blasting one from the point, wide of the net. Skriko in his own zone. Works in across the line. Takes a shot. Loose puck in front of the net. Stalenkov with Helminen being held up by two Soviet defensemen or unified team defensemen, reaches out and grabs the puck. Helminen attempting to drive for the net on the shot by Skriko.
Well, that will not be the last time one of us calls the unified team Soviets, and it certainly wasn't the first, as we look at Stalenkov stop the puck and then his defenseman controlling the rebound. I've been doing an independent survey here of other countries and what they call the team, the unified team, and talking with a number of the different Finns, including Kari Eloranta and some of the Finnish broadcasters here. What do you call the unified team in Finland? Most of us call them Russians. So far, Russians are outnumbering any other name that the unified team members have.
Kovalev dodges a check. He's hauled down. No penalty on the play. Fed ahead to Skriko. Skriko for Udala. His shot is blocked. The puck bounces high in the air out to center ice. Skriko bangs it in. Zhitnek takes over for the unified team. Yushkevich plays it ahead to Kovalev. Kovalev behind his back. Petrenko fakes the shot, then lets it go. And as he tried to drive for the rebound, Tammy grabbed it and hangs on, and he also skates back.
Well, we talked about the unified team before the tournament started and said one of the big differences is that you simply don't know their names yet. But as the Olympics progress and as things loosen up more in the CIS, I think you will see quite an influx of unified team members and players from what was formerly the Soviet Union coming into the National Hockey League. I think that's going to increase the talent level in the NHL and the skill in the games.
Bykov taking the pass from Homutov, firing it wide. Suminen gets to the line, is checked by Bykov. Bykov puts it in for Homutov. It was offside. Well, they have talked about Bykov a number of times, and the fact that Dave King once called him a little weasel. Homutov is referred to as the Soviet Rat. Ken Linsman, who played with Philadelphia, with Edmonton, was referred to as the Rat. Someone nicknamed Homutov the Soviet Rat.
Well, there's absolutely no question that Ken Linsman had a nickname that was very, very appropriate. Well, he played a great scorer and used to spend a fair amount of time in the penalty box as well. Homutov, a little bit more finesseful, I think, than Linsman, but similar in style and in stature. The Rat, as far as I'm concerned, a compliment. If you're playing against the guy, you don't like it, but you sure would enjoy having him on your team.
Siren fires it in. Seleny races back of the net with Zubov. Zubov takes the finish forward up against the glass, but he stays with the puck. Seleny looking for someone to give it to. He flips it in front. It's knocked down and moved out to center. Zubov winds up and fires it just wide, and the puck ricochets all the way back into the unified team zone. 11:45 gone by in the second. 2-1, the unified team leading. Stolen by Niemanen, and then just as he was winding up to let a shot go, Bolden lifted his stick.
Bolden recovered very, very well. A bit of a giveaway when Niemanen pilfered the puck. A great job by Bolden to come back and steal it back from his Finnish opponent.
Peltema with a shot that deflects up high and out of play.
Peltema's shot couldn't have gone any higher, right up to the ceiling of the arena here in Mirabel.
6,100, a quieter crowd than we have witnessed during many of the games in this tournament. It was particularly noisy yesterday for the game between France and the United States. The United States winning by a score of 4-1, but the French threw a real scare at them. They led 1-0 after 20 minutes of play.
But the only team that really hasn't had a cheering section, albeit not a big one for all of the countries, but the only team that really hasn't had their own cheering section has been the unified team. Every other team, you've seen flags and different contingents in the crowd cheering for them. The unified team, though, gets the general applause from the whole crowd, but not from one small group individually.
Salamaya takes a shot, and that is just wide of the net, and it comes out to the neutral zone. Broken up by Peldema. He fires it down the ice, and another icing call against the Finnish team. 12:51 into the second period. Well, perhaps the spectators don't know which flag to wave because the unified team is here under the Olympic banner.
You're absolutely right. If you take a look at the front of that jersey, the thing that is obviously missing from it is a crest. Mind you, Yuskevich has enough letters on his back to take care of all the writing for any sweater. A couple of neat things on the unified team sweaters. The writing, for some reason, on the backs of the players comes in about 3 different varieties, and if you pick out any of the names, you will notice that some small, some big.
Maybe it has something to do with the importance to the team. Long shot steered to the corner. Puck loose in the unified team zone. Yushkevich plays it out to center ice, then pokes it ahead to Kovalev. He can't go anywhere with it, but the puck deflects down into the corner. Yudala around the boards for Tuomisto. He can't get out. Jitnik with a long shot and a glove save by Jukka-Tammi.
You'll notice that the Finnish goaltender Tammi is freezing the puck every opportunity. He's not in a big rush to play it, as Kovalev is a little slow getting up. Jitnik going to the bench for a little sit down, and here's a look at a shot from the point. Kovalenko drifting one at Tammi, and although the shot was wide, Tammi picks it up and looks to freeze the puck as much as possible to slow this game down even more. The Finns hoping that a turnaround or an opportunity will arise where they can jump on their opponents and get themselves tied in this hockey game.
Laurila picks up the loose puck and skates out of his own zone. Tried to slip it into the unified team end of the rink for Lindroos. It was stopped by the unified team to the line and fired back in by Eloranta offside. 2-1, the unified team leads Finland in this quarterfinal match. To the unified team zone, Lindroos picks it up off the boards, tried to throw it in front. It's gloved and held by Stalenkov. That's Lindroos, not Lindros.
Well, it's amazing what a difference a letter makes. Lindroos, the namesake of Eric Lindros on the Finnish national team, a third-line center. But I'm sure that he has had more than one person ask him about his name and the similarity between the 18-year-old superstar playing for the Canadians.
Back to the line, Rautinen's long shot, knocked down by Stalenkov. The rebound puts wide. Yarvenpov for Niemann and up front. Salami jams at it, and it's grabbed and held by Stalenkov. A flurry around the unified team net, and Stalenkov has to be sharp.
Well, the Finns, despite not having a lot of play in the unified team zone, have done all right from a shot point of view. They're only down by a couple of shots to the unified team, and as you just saw, when there's an opportunity, they really turn on the gas and get after the puck. They did a good job there, and if not for some quick reactions by Stalenkov, this game could be tied with 5 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the second period.
Siren from the point, fires it to the corner. Yarvenpov goes over there after it. He's checked, and Butsayev starts away for the unified team. He has Kovalenko with him. Pass just a little too far for Kovalenko. Flips back out to center ice. Yarvenpov takes Kravchuk in against the boards. Butsayev picks up the puck and fires it wide. Boughton at the point, manages to keep it in. Butsayev in front of the net. They score! A centering pass.
The Finns were hoping to get lucky. Instead, the unified team gets lucky. A pass from the corner ends up going off. A Finn off to the side, I believe, of Jukka-Tammi. And as Tammi played the pass across in front, it had already deflected and snuck in behind him. Here's a look at what took place as Billy Siren goes to block the shot. There it hits his stick. As you saw, Tammy is in the process of stopping what would have been a pass to Kovalenko, and the puck sneaks in. His leg reaction is a hair too late. And Hamailev, who took a solid body check a little bit earlier, gets the lucky break. A 2-goal margin now for the Unified team.
Peldema is checked as he tries to get out. Sarakoski gives it back to Peldema. Peldema dodges a check and works his way up to the line, but there's a penalty coming up. A slashing call as Petrenko is holding his face, and he appears to have quite a welt on the side of his face as Blomqvist goes to the penalty box. Blomqvist hasn't seen a lot of action during the course of this game. A Washington, New Jersey player in the National Hockey League for 5 years. So another power play, 15:07 into the second for the Unified team.
You saw the puck not only hit Ville Siren's stick, but it also went off the rear end of Arto Rutanen. Rutanen, just in the process of covering his own man, gets a puck in the bum and it goes in the net.
3-1, the Unified team leading Finland. The winner of this game will face the United States in semifinal action on Friday. The United States defeating France last night 4-1.
I don't know whether you noticed in the hand of Victor Tikhonov a stopwatch. I've also noticed Pentti Matikainen with the same thing. You've got a lot of things to think about on the bench, and obviously these guys just hit the watch when their lines go on so that they're getting the maximum shift time, which would be in the neighborhood of 30 to 45 seconds if guys are going up and down hard.
And at altitude, the length of time a player spends on the ice probably is even more important. Homutov works his way to the line, is knocked down and brought in offside by Davidoff. 1:21 remaining in the penalty to Blomqvist. 15:46 gone by in period 2.
I would think the Finnish strategy has got to change a little bit now. It's fine to wait and look for an opportunity when the game is tied or you're down by 1, but as the Unified team widens this gap, that's simply a strategy that will only reduce the number of goals you lose by. And if you want to get close and force a tie for an overtime or a shootout or win this hockey game, the Finns will have to start to jump to the attack to generate some opportunities that arise from their hard work as opposed to a miscue by the Unified team.
And the Finns can ill afford to play short-handed against this Unified team. They have had 7 minor penalties assessed so far, just 2 against the Unified team. Borashevsky takes it back to the net. A very slight player, but a very skillful puck handler and a great skater. Back to the point to Zubov. To Prokhorov, over to Borashevsky, a shot right on, it deflected up high, and it wound up in the mesh back of the net. It was knocked off the mesh, but the whistle had gone.
Borashevsky can't believe that he missed that shot. As Tammy came across, Borashevsky put it right between his legs. The puck went through his pads, and in catching the right pad went out the left side of the net. There's a look at Borashevsky playing with his line mates Prokhorov and Bolden. These 3 guys play together as well in the Elite League in the CIS.
Bolden in across the line. Prokhorov took the shot. Borashevsky picks up the loose puck for Bolden, gets a return pass, tries to move out front, gets it over to Bolden. Bolden leaves it there for Borashevsky. Borashevsky back to the point. It bounced away from Malikov.
I don't know whether you noticed, Don, but Tammy is playing the passes from the Unified team members. He just got caught on one that was deflected and went in behind him. Because the Unified team passes the puck so well, he's trying to read those plays, and that can result in disaster if the pass doesn't make it to where Tammy, the Finnish goaltender, thinks it's intended for.
Malikov with a shot, scores just as the penalty expired. Malikov taking the cross-ice pass from Zubov and blasting one. And a lot of emotion being displayed by the Unified team. You saw Zubov after the puck went in the net, down on one knee, waving his arm and celebrating. In the past, you never saw this type of emotion from a Soviet team.
Well, you're absolutely right, and those sorts of things tend to go unnoticed. But when I think back to the practices that we watched before the Olympics began, that was one of the observations we made. These guys seem to really be enjoying the game, and that can only improve how they perform and how the nation performs.
Well, the book on Malakoff is that he had a great shot, and I'm sure that Jukka Tammi in goal for the Finnish team will attest to that and provide confirmation. It's 4-1, the unified team leading Finland. That puck finding the net just as the penalty to Blomqvist expired. Prokhorov and Zubov drawing the assists at 17-12 of the second period.
Well, I mentioned the wrist shots and the nice pure wrist shots that we've seen the unified team releasing. That's not to say that they haven't adapted well to slap shots and snapshot shots. Their strength, very, very good. Their quickness and their coordination allows them to really lean into the puck, as you saw on the goal by Malakoff.
Butsayev plays it back to Kravchuk. Boughton for Kovalenko. Kovalenko gets to the line, tried to race after the puck. He was checked. Picked up by Nieminen. Nieminen trying to work it across the line. Couldn't get around Kravchuk. Kovalenko starts back for the unified team. Rautinen trying to tie him up along the boards. Seleny takes his man in, but he gets away. Tried to throw it out front, and it's picked off by Rautinen for Yarmolenko. He chips it down the ice. Soviets win the race for it. Hamilev starting back. There's going to be another penalty against the Finnish team as Seleny is going to draw a tripping call as he upset Hamilev in the neutral zone.
It doesn't get much more blatant than that. Seleny simply sticking out his right leg. Hamilev goes down, and because that infraction was so blatant in the middle of the ice, referee Adam has no choice but to give the unified team another power play with 1 minute and 43 seconds left in the second period.
Well, I asked one of our Finnish broadcasting compatriots how he thought this game would go, and he said 7-1 for the unified team.
Well, I hope you didn't wager much. You might be right.
I don't think he had established a morning line for the game.
Well, you could have helped him with that, I'm sure.
1.5 minutes remaining in the period. Mironov moves it ahead for Bikov. Mironov takes a return feed. He was looking for Davidoff in front of the net. It was intercepted and fired back down the ice.
The unified team just going with the group of 5. Davidoff, Bikov, Homutov, Mironov, and the last defenseman, Kasparaitis.
Again, Finland spots an opening. They fire at the length of the ice. Kasparaitis is back for it. Kasparaitis gets in across the line, drops it back to Homutov. Homutov plays it behind the net. Davidoff is there for the unified team. He leaves it there for Bikov. The two of them move the puck at close quarters. A centering attempt is blocked and fired down the ice. That's something about this unified team as well. They are so skillful at those very short 3- and 4-foot passes at speed.
Well, they don't waste a lot of time either, particularly on power plays. You look, you make a decision, you move the puck so that your opposition has to make a decision and react. Chances are, if you know where you're going and they're guessing, eventually somebody's left open and a scoring opportunity arises.
Bolden flips it in on the wing for Malakoff. He has scored a goal already. He gives it to Prokhorov. Borashevsky tried to pick up the loose puck. He ran into Saarinen, and then the puck is deflected down the ice. Sarakovsky going after it, but can't get to it before the horn sounds to end the period. And after 40 minutes of play, the unified team not so...
This hockey game, we didn't know whether the ice was going to be resurfaced between the third period and the overtime. After the overtime, there was really no definite response as to what was taking place, and we were just trying to figure out what was happening from what was taking place on the ice. Canada won the game in the shootout. The order may not have been correct, but the outcome was, and the Germans had no choice but to lodge an official protest simply because the rules weren't followed correctly, but that will be straightened out in any future games, and I would think that the outcome of the Canadian game against Germany will remain the same.
Well, it would be unbelievable if anything was reversed with relationship to that shootout at this stage. But we are told that details of the official protest by the German Hockey Federation Committee. But you're absolutely right. The teams, after regulation play, were not prepared to leave the ice. As Dave King said, initially he was told just prior to the game that they would remain on the ice and they wouldn't clean the ice before the start of the 10-minute sudden death overtime period. But suddenly the Zambonis came out and the teams went to the dressing room.
Well, in fact, we had a couple of our people downstairs trying to talk to an official, and they said that the ice was not going to be cleaned, and the next thing we knew, the boards were being pulled out from where the doors open for the Zamboni. Perhaps the Zamboni driver is in charge of the whole operation. He decided the ice needed resurfacing. Heck with the rules, this is the way we're going to do it. Viktor Tikhonov doesn't have a whole lot to worry about in this particular hockey game. What he wants to do is make sure that his troop continues to play disciplined hockey so that the next team they face, they will be prepared for them and not having let up in their last game against the Finns. I don't see the Finns being able to come back against a stronger unified team, but we will probably see some pretty cute passing from the guys in the red sweaters.
Kovalenko took a hit in the neutral zone and he is down. But apparently he's all right. He has a few words to exchange with a member of the Finnish squad who belted him. No penalties called on the play. 1:25 into the third. The Finns, in watching the final game of round-robin competition, really had their hopes up. It looked as though they were going to avoid a confrontation with the unified team when the United States was leading Sweden by a score of 3-0. And had the United States won that game, well then it would have meant that the defending Olympic champions and the defending world champions, the unified team and Sweden, would have played this quarterfinal game. So one of the two powers would have been eliminated in the first playoff round. But of course, as we know, Sweden came back with the late goal to tie the United States, and as a result, they finished second, and Finland was relegated to third place. The puck inside the unified team blue line, picked up and wheeled out to center ice by Bolden, flipped right back in by Helminen. Stalenkov plays it up along the boards for Prokhorov. He frees it. Zubov was spun around as he got to the center ice line. He looked over to the referee Adams, but no penalty call.
The referees are going to have to take acting courses as part of their curriculum to become referees. Now there's so much diving that even for a trained eye, it's difficult to tell whether it's a real penalty or whether somebody is trying to pull the wool over your eyes.
Kovalev behind his own net. Draft choice of the New York Rangers. Puts it up on the right side to Zhamnov with Petrenko. He shoots up high on Tammy, and the puck goes to the corner. Kovalev up front. Shot by Petrenko. He goes after the rebound. Couldn't get a stick on it. Yushkevich tied up back of the net. The puck loose. Finally picked off by one of the Finnish players, and Suominen comes to center ice for Tuomisto. He drops it off for Lindros, a shot right on, and Stalenkov grabs the rebound and holds it for a face-off. 2:56 into the third, 4-1, the unified team leading Finland.
Stalenkov has faced 20 shots, although when I look at the shots, there's only really been a couple of different instances where he has really been tested. The unified team has had possession much more often than not, and a lot of shots have been just like ones you just witnessed, a shot from not a great angle or from further out. Stalenkov has given the opportunity to see the puck, and then he's done his job in taking the rebound. Yushkevich receiving a penalty, and the Finns with just under 3 minutes expired in the third period, have an opportunity to bring this game within 2 with a power play opportunity.
Lorela tried to throw it back to the line, but Alaranda was out of position. Tuomisto dumps it in. Suominen goes after it. He and Kasparaitis tie each other up. Back to the line. Alaranda for Lorela. Back to Alaranda. Lorela goes rake wide. Tuomisto in the corner. Back to the point. Alaranda returns the puck. In front, Suominen. Now over to Lorela. He blasts it high off the glass. Finns reluctant to shoot that puck from the point. Unlike the unified team, they will blast it. And they have picked up a goal with that shot coming in from the point. Malakoff getting the 4th goal for the unified team. Alaranda dumps it in. In front to Lorela. It bounced away from him. Lorela gets it again. Slides it into the corner. Tuomisto gets it back to the net for Suominen. Back to Lindroos. Lindroos in front for Suominen. It was deflected to the corner. And Maranov spots an opening and fires at the length of the ice with 30 seconds remaining in the penalty. And look at Tammy all the way up to the blue line. He could be trapped. Just getting back in time to knock it to the corner was Lorela.
I thought Tammy was going to go and take up on your suggestion, Don, and show the teammates of his to shoot the puck.
Here's the shot by Nieminen and the save by Stalenkov. Tammy came way up to the blue line to play that puck and almost got trapped.
I'm not quite sure what he was doing. He had the puck at the top of the circle, did a good job in coming out. He could have made the pass, but he wanted to exhibit his tremendous acceleration. He did that and almost cost his team a goal.
Solani puts on the brakes, throws it in front. Järvenpää had his stick lifted just in time by Boughton. And the unified team defenseman throws it ahead to Milev. The unified team back at full strength. Milev takes the shot. Butsayev on the rebound. Put it off the side of the net. Järvenpää in his own zone. He frees it for Rautinen. Rautinen works his way in across the line, dumps it in. Stalenkov holds it at the side of the net. Halminen continued to drive for the net and has an exchange of words. Takes it behind his own net up for Borashevsky. He took a big hit at the point. Now it's Prokhorov going for the net. Saved by Tammy. Tammy has played well in goal for Finland. You can hardly fault him for any of the 4 pucks that got past him.
No, you're right about that. If the one where he attempted to lead the rush had snuck in, we might have had a few choice words, but that didn't happen, and you're right, Don. Tammy has played a strong game for the Finns.
Petri Skriko along the boards had the puck sneak past him. Here comes Borashevsky. Borashevsky faked as though he was going to leave it for Prokhorov, then tried to throw it in front for Bolden. It got away from him. Long shot, gloved by Tammy. He throws it back of the net.
In the first period, Tammy would have kept that puck for a face-off, but with his team down by 3, he's trying to improve the momentum.
Stalenkov makes a fine save on a shot from the point. Petri Skriko letting one go. Now Tuomisto tried to throw it in front. Petrejko intercepts, feeds up in the wing to Kovalev. Kovalev couldn't control the puck. Suominen got back just in time for Finland. Suominen takes a return pass. Comes in across the line, tried to go around Zhitnik. The unified team defender poked it away from him. Lead pass for Kovalev in the center ice area. It was a 2-line pass offside. The call against the unified team. 7:06 into the period.
Kovalev, a first-round pick of the New York Rangers, is a hockey fanatic. As we look at Jukka Tommy, Tommy having a little chat with his defenseman Kari Eloranta,
previously known to his Calgary teammates as Tonto.
Tonto Eloranto. And there's a look at Stalenkov and the coach, Pentti Matikainen. Matikainen, as we mentioned in an earlier broadcast, fortunately for him, his contract was to expire at the middle of the World Championships this year, so he had a little bit of extra leverage in negotiating a new contract.
Redirects the puck. It's 5-1. Perfect feed, and Bikov simply reached out and redirected it up and over Yukatami.
Well, the unified team can turn a puck around so very quickly. From the blue line, you wouldn't have thought that a scoring opportunity would arise, and all of a sudden, Bikov, who's got that great darting speed and great hands as well, goes to the net. His line mate in Fribourg, Homutov, dishes the puck to where he knows Bikov will be. There's a look at the pass as Bikov skates into it. Tammy gets caught with the deflection. It's 5-1, and this game is all over but the crying.
Homutov draws an assist on the goal. He was the player who threw it into the front of the Finnish net for Bikov to redirect it. An offside call against the unified team, 7:29 into the period. The United States will play the winner of this game, and it looks very much as though it is going to be the unified team in one semifinal. Canada will go against the winner of the next game on the schedule for today, Sweden, Czechoslovakia. That semifinal game will get underway at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on the full CBC network. Jutela's long shot off the end boards. Boughton flips it up on the wing. Saarinen raced in to keep it in. A blast kicked out by Stalenkov. Another shot puck loose in front of the net. And Savanoya couldn't get his stick on it. Kravchuk works his way in, takes a shot from a sharp angle. Tammy stood his ground and kicked that one out. Back comes Finland. At the line, Savanoya lets a shot go. It's wide. Skriko was trying to drive for the net, but was held up by a unified team defender. Lorela plays it back to Alaranta. For Skriko. Skriko looking over on the left side. The pass intercepted by Malikov and fired into the Finnish zone. It's an icing call against the unified team. 8:34 into the third. Flips it up on the wing. Puck is fired over to his defensive partner, Lorela. He gives it back to Alaranta. Fired in, deflected to the corner. Lindros along the boards. He's checked by Malikov. Borashevsky plays it back to the net to Malikov. He almost lost it to the Finnish player Lindros, but Stalenkov came diving out of the net to pounce on the loose puck.
Lindros was all set to take the body. If he would have opted for the puck in that particular case, I think he might have been able to bring it outside and get an opportunity on Stalenkov. Stalenkov, as we mentioned, wearing the famous number 20 of Vladislav Tretiak. And with the number of goals that his opposition is scoring, he may sport the same type of average by the time these Olympics are complete.
Back to the point. Shot blocked before it gets to the net, and Kovalev wheels his way down and across the line. Kovalev, nice move, and a backhand shot that just went wide. He almost turned Billy Siren around as he made that spinorama move deep in the Finnish zone. Zhitnik works in against Rautanen. Two of them go down, the puck loose. Zhitnik gets back on the skates, throws it out front, and Tammy grabs it and holds it for a face-off.
Kovalev, the hockey fanatic, imitating a move that I've seen Denny Savard do in his prime, taking the puck at full speed and doing a full 360. The defenseman that's playing you isn't quite sure what direction you're going, and you're difficult to stop because a guy with a skill level like that, as we get a look at this move, isn't quite sure what he's going to do until he's finished doing it. Billy Siren played Kovalev pretty well after that nifty move.
Back to the point, Mironov dumped it into the corner. Jutela got there first. Savanoya couldn't get out. Homutov attempted to center it for Bikov. It was blocked by the Finns. Savanoya into the slot. Helmanen's shot is blocked. Davidoff along the boards being tied up by the Finnish forward. The puck poked up high. Jutila gets it. Flipped it up in the wing, too far for Sevenoja. And Mironov dumps it back out. Bikov for Homutov. Couple of nice moves at the blue line, waiting for his teammates to catch up with the play, but the Finnish players recovered in the process. 10:54 into the third. It's 5-1. The unified team leading the Finns.
The Finns, with a bronze medal finish at the Canada Cup, had a better record than the unified team. A lot of close games for the CIS at the Canada Cup. In the first game, the Finns tied Canada 2-2, and in Finland it was considered one of the great hockey games in Finnish hockey history.
Penalty coming up as the shot from the point was redirected in front of the Finnish goal. 11:21 has gone by in period 3. Ville Seren. Seren dumps it off in the wing into the slot, and the shot by Nieminen is blocked by Stolinkov and fired the length of the ice.
A nifty little move by Nieminen, who is prone to put the puck in the net, but Stolinkov moved just as well as Nieminen and stopped the puck with no problem.
Solani tried to feed Seren at the point. It was intercepted by Prokhorov and fired out. Rautinen gives it to Solani. Solani tries to get it back to the point. Got it again and then tried to throw it out front, and nobody was there, and Juszkiewicz dumps it down the ice. Seren trying to skate away from Petrenko, fires it over on the wing for Järvenpää. To the other side to Nieminen. An attempted return pass picked off by Zhamnov. Zhamnov with some nice moves. Slides it back out to Zhitnik. A penalty coming up against Finland. Zhitnik shoots it in. Tammy stops it back of the net, resulting in the whistle and the penalty call. So with 49 seconds remaining in the penalty to Butsayev, Hannu Järvenpää goes to the penalty box.
Zhamnov getting hauled down right here after doing a dance on the blue line. Järvenpää gets him on the arm. Zhamnov goes down. Zhamnov, who is nicknamed the Irishman because of his red hair, I guess is quite a happy-go-lucky character. And I got a real kick out of a quote that we came upon Don from the assistant coach. What did he say? Something along the lines, he's too happy. I think he should get married.
I'm not touching that one.
Well, certainly that doesn't apply to you and I, Don. Judy and Kath, if you're listening, make sure that you write that one down. That's only for all those other guys.
You're getting deeper and deeper.
I'm trying to dig out, Whit. It ain't working.
In 26 seconds, the unified team will have another power play. Kravchuk throws it up to the line. Hamilev stopped there by Utilev. Kovalenko flips it in. He goes to the net. Hamilev couldn't get the puck to him. Along the boards, Sevenoja flips it out. The unified team on the power play now for 1:08. 13:27 into the third, and they simply take it back into their own zone while they throw the power play unit out on the ice.
The team that loses this hockey game will play the loser of the Sweden-Czech game, as the games will continue for every team until the ranking is complete from the gold medal all the way down to number 12 position.
Mironov back into his own zone. 38 seconds remaining on the power play. Bikov stopped at the line. The puck lays on the blue line, and Davidoff quickly raced in to pick it up and throw it back to the Finnish net. Alaranta can't get it out against Kasparaitis. He tries again, and this time succeeds in clearing the zone.
Well, if we had enough time, we would have a stopwatch on the difference in possession between the unified team and the Finns over the course of this game, although the shots up until the end of the second period were not a heck of a lot different, and even at this point in the game, 33-30 in favor of the unified team. The time of possession is far in excess in favor of the guys in red.
Finland back at full strength. Selony's rink-wide pass picked off by Kovalev. He tries to quickly turn it around and go the other way. He's hauled down, the puck loose in the neutral zone. Yushkevich gets it back to Kovalev, and again he runs into a check and is knocked down as Yarvenpah gets it to Rautanen. Rink-wide pass intended for Seleny was picked off by the unified team, and it results in an offside call against Finland. 5 minutes remaining in the game. Rautanen back into his own zone, flips it ahead for Nieminen. Nieminen for Yarvenpah. Yarvenpah trying to break through. Zubov recovered just in time. Siren dumped it in, but he crossed the blue line before shooting it in, and one of his teammates was trapped offside.
Number 40, Mika Nieminen, back on the beam and playing very, very well. Quite talented. He's been a big part of the success of the national team in Finland, both in the Canada Cup and so far here at the Olympics.
Fired down the ice, a race for it. Saarinen got there ahead of Butsayev, leaves it in the corner for Jutila. The unified team has done a good job of preventing the Finns from setting anything up in the neutral zone. They've really taken center ice away from them.
The way you do that is you get the puck and you don't give it back to your opponent, and that's something that, as silly as it sounds, the unified team this year, and Soviets and Russians as we've called them every other year, are unbelievable at. Their biggest asset is the way they can control the puck and consequently the game.
Davidoff wristed one high and off the glass. 16:30. Lorela, back of the net, he's checked. Puck fired up to the line to Tuomisto. He couldn't go anywhere with it. Now Suminen puts on the brakes. He's forced back to the line. All he can do is dump it to the corner, and Bykov is back for the unified team. Up to the line to Davidoff. He directs it out to center ice. Kari Eloranta works his way to the line, dumps it in. Kasparaitis chases after it. Kasparaitis is checked by Lindroos behind the goal. The puck lays loose. And Homotov fires it up to Davidoff at center ice. He deflected it back into the Finnish zone, and Eloranta has it now for the Finns. Just over 2 minutes remaining in the third period. The unified team totally in control of the hockey game, leading by a score of 5-1. Davidoff intercepts a clearing attempt. Tried to throw it in front for Bykov. It was beyond his reach. Rautanen skates away with Nieminen. Nieminen had problems picking up the pass. Bykov goes back after it. He throws it in front of his own net. Kovalev up at the center ice area, coming in. Kovalev looking for Petrenko, and Petrenko was tied up and couldn't reach the puck.
Don, I'm just looking at a stick laying over inside the unified team blue line. 1.5 centimeter regulation for curves, and the way that baby is laying on the ice, it is far in excess of the 1.5 centimeter rule. There's a look at Ville Siren, a player for Minnesota and for Pittsburgh. He made the comment that, boy, those teams really missed me after I left. Obviously, both of those teams going to the finals, and Pittsburgh winning the Stanley Cup last year. Trefilov will now get an opportunity to play in the final minute and 58 seconds.
This is something that Viktor Tikhonov has done a couple of times during the tournament. Trefilov taking over from Stalenkov late in a hockey game. You know, you talked about the curve on that stick that was laying on the ice. Perhaps one of the reasons it had such a big curve to it, the blade was broken.
The Europeans tend to use huge curves, and it wouldn't surprise me if there is a close game that you see that call.
Yes, it wouldn't be surprising at all if there is a request for a measurement. Here's Zhamnov. Pass over to Kovalev. He got a shot away out front for Petrenko, and he scores. Zhamnov fed Kovalev. He let the shot go. The loose puck bounced in front of the net. And Kovalev makes it 6-1. The unified team leading.
The unified team started with Under 6 minutes gone in the first period, and they continue to dominate with only 1 minute and 25 seconds left in the third period and the hockey game. You see the wide open net. Petrenko has nothing but webbing to shoot at. And this is what's commonly called a yay, a good second effort by Kovalev to get the puck over to his partner after stripping the Finnish defenseman. And the Unified team is up by 5 goals, 6-1, 1 minute and 15 seconds, and counting down.
I'll have to get my Finnish television friend to handicap more games. He said this one would wind up 7-1 for the Unified team with 1 minute and 4 seconds remaining. It's 6-1, the Unified team leading. Koff at center ice. Circles back into his own zone. 47 seconds remaining. Bolden simply fires it out.
Trefilov in nets for the Unified team. He's played without counting the 1 minute and 58 seconds that will go on his record here. 36 minutes and 38 seconds in the Olympics. And as you mentioned, Don, Vic Tikhonov throwing his backup goalie in when the game is completely in control and there's only a few minutes left in the third period.
Well, Trefilov had an opportunity to be the #1 goaltender on this Unified national squad, but he showed up at training camp overweight and out of shape. And as a result, Stolinkov got the #1 job. And as the Unified team bring it in across the line, the horn sounds to end the hockey game. The Unified team